sector rotation is a topic that, well, rotates around in the narrative frequently, and yet it's always often interpreted as something that, people can only know with high level amounts of macro or sector data. I think it's pretty simple. I'm going to share with you my process and how this is going to play out as I build my watch list for next week, right? And remember, if you're trading the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, these sectors are absolutely vital to understand. So let's get into this. First of all, this isn't magic. I think a lot of folks think there's a lot of magic to sector rotation. And I think a lot of folks think sector rotation happens possibly more frequently than it really does. The frequency of sector rotation really depends on how you're looking at normalized performance. Are you looking at a 1 day, a 5 day, right? Month to date, looking at 1 month, right? For the most part, if I'm looking at sector rotation for short-term swing trades using my daily price movement ranges, I'm going to look at month to date or 1 month. And it's probably really interesting to right now look at the quarter. Look at the quarter because we're wrapping up the quarter. So this is going to give you that beautiful look at the first 3 months of this year, right? And so again, the site that I'm on right now is KOYFIN. It's a free site. It's an amazing site. I use it a lot, especially in the Sector Secrets Mastery. But again, I think futures traders, ETF traders, traders of all sorts, stock traders, you're going to find benefit in this kind of analysis. So right now, what I have active are all the U.S. sectors and regional banks. And that's what's being plotted here. Let's start from the quarter. What do we have here? If I'm looking at the quarter right now, what's at the very bottom? Well, of course, KRE. There's XLF, energy, healthcare, utilities, and staples. Isn't that interesting? So as we round out the quarter, here's the NASDAQ, gang. That is the NQ. XLK, XLC, XLY. Sector rotation would be these particular sectors, some profit taking, which means they start to move lower, and that money flowing into some of the bargains, usually in the bottom half or even the bottom third or quarter of the normalized performance. So that means that names like this might flow into names like energy, financials, and regional banks. I would even throw in possibly healthcare. The sectors rotate. I call it the Ferris wheel, right? So just kind of moves to the bottom moves to the top. So I kind of call it the Ferris wheel analogy. It's literally rotation, gang. Let's say we look at month to date. And month to date, obviously, in 1 month are the same thing. It's just March, right? It's just March. And you can see the date here on the bottom. The last month, well, again, no surprise. KRE, XLF, so it's a little bit different look, right? XLRE, XLB, XLE. And the top of this, interestingly enough, K, C, utilities, staples, and consumer discretionary. Well, XLK, XLC, XLY, right? That's all NASDAQ. But why the defensive? Well, what happened in March? What did March have to contend with that, say, the quarter did not in its entirety, right? March has been all about, oh my gosh, baby black swan event. So it's not surprising to see the more defensive sectors a little bit more prominent to the top of the list when it comes to March. Defensives, the utilities and staples, they're going to benefit from the fear that we've seen kind of since the 7th of March. So that's not really surprising. If we look at the way the end today, what benefited today? What surged today? Or even the last 5 days, meaning this very last week of the year? Pretty much everything, gang. I mean, this is kind of interesting. When you look at the last 5 days, if we're saying that this looks like risk aversion, if this market looks like it's worried about recession, if this market's worried about the other shoe to drop, this is not how the last 5 days should look going into end of quarter. I'm not surprised that some of these names are up near the top of the list on the 1 day. And you'll notice, what is it? The two strongest parts of the NASDAQ right now, gang, are not XLK. It's consumer discretionary and communication. Consumer discretionary, think Amazon, Tesla. Communication, think Meta and Meta and Google. Meta and Google. Why does this matter to futures traders? Well, remember, the NASDAQ is XLK, XLC, XLY. The S&P is XLK, XLF, XLV. That's what makes up this futures contract. That would include the SPY. That would include the SPX. Right? So this is a very cool way to break this down. This is something that we started doing, and I will continue to do this in This Week in the Market. So if you haven't checked it out yet, and you're a subscriber to This Week in the Market, or you're a member of the Sector Secrets Mastery, the new issue is in the dashboard. All right, let's go back on over to one other thing that I brought up in the newsletter, and that is currencies. You can look at currency futures. You can look at Forex. And it's really interesting to look at the performance, gang. As we wrap up this week, yen weakness is actually very much confirming risk appetite, right? What else do we like to see? Commodity dollars. These are COM dolls. So if you're a futures trader, that's 6C right here. New Zealand dollar. That's another COM doll. Why would COM dolls, well, why are they called COM dolls? They're economies that are very much benefiting, reliant on the export of commodities from their country, right? Well, why would commodities be in demand? It's usually in some expectation of economic expansion, right? I would have loved to have seen the Aussie give the Canadian dollar and the New Zealand dollar some company, but nonetheless, you got 2 of the 3 COM dolls this week strong. That's favoring risk appetite, and you have the Japanese yen weak. That's pretty ideal when it comes to, again, more confirmation of risk appetite. I'm very optimistic about April, going into the first few days of the new quarter. But remember, gang, we're also going into earnings season. By mid-month, we're going to be full swing into earnings. But these are ways we can break down not just what we should do in terms of strategy, but where we need to focus to deploy those strategies. Where should we be focusing our money? Where should we be focusing potential setups? So I hope that helps as we kind of wrap up this quarter. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.